Hi, I'm Gary White for Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Shelby Jett, and we're going to talk about a proposed smoke-free ordinance that Nelson County's for Nelson County, that is in the works with the PATH Coalition, which is an anti-drug coalition here in Nelson County. And Shelby's wife, Judy, was a member of the PATH Coalition.
Yeah.
And was a strong advocate for the smoke-free ordinance,
Yeah.
correct, for potentially in Nelson County. And unfortunately, Judy passed away about a
Yeah,
month
it's a
ago.
tragic accident at my home where she got caught in a fire and didn't get out in time and didn't survive the outcome of that fire. So she's not with us anymore. She passed away on March 8th.
On March 8th. And kind of in her memory, so to speak, you're working with the PATH Coalition to work on this project that was kind of, that she felt strongly about.
Through the years that she and I were married, we were married 13 years, she had various causes that she championed, and this was one of them, smoke-free, and she was involved in the initial initiative to try to get a smoke-free ordinance in Nelson County. And that preceded the Bardstown ordinance. And Bardstown, 2 years after Nelson County addressed it, passed an ordinance for smoke-free public spaces. So the concept is we don't have an ordinance that's before the fiscal court at this time,
Right.
but the timing is such that it's election season. And the fiscal court is going to have, 3 members that are going to be elected plus the county judge executive.
Right.
So in order for the people in Nelson County to understand where the candidates stand on the smoke-free subject, we thought we'd bring it to them during the election season and then work with public campaign information during the summer and through the fall elections to measure and determine whether or not Nelson County is interested in having a smoke-free workspaces and smoke-free public spaces like restaurants and other gathering places.
So we want to clarify that the city of Bardstown does currently have a smoke-free ordinance in effect.
It does have. You can find it on the City of Bardstown website. A very excellent ordinance. It is championed by the University of Kentucky Breathe people, the people who are engaged in trying to get smoke-free spaces across the state.
And what we're talking about now is the potential for expanding the current Bardstown ordinance, or utilizing the Bardstown ordinance and having it encompass all of Nelson County.
Use it as a basis, as a model for the county if they decide that they want to move this forward and decide to expand smoke-free spaces into the county as well as the city.
Now, when we say a smoke-free ordinance, there have been some people who are calling it a smoking ban, but it's not a banning people from smoking. It is a providing smoke-free opportunities for people in public spaces and places of work, correct?
I understand the context of the ban in that it's viewed as a ban within those spaces. Well, perhaps, but what the objective of the ordinance is to provide spaces where the public that doesn't smoke, that doesn't want to be exposed to secondhand smoke, which is just about as dangerous as smoking is directly, to provide them the opportunity to have those spaces without having the affront of the smoke in the spaces they want to visit.
And so this ordinance, you were saying several years ago, was discussed in Nelson County and did not pass at that time, correct?
There was an ordinance back then. I do not have a copy of it, and I don't know that would be an ordinance that we'd want to look at this time. Again, to be consistent within the area, I think the best starting place would be to use the ordinance that we already have within the Bardstown and apply it to a Nelson County scenario.
Right. And so why we're here is to let people know that this ordinance, potential ordinance, is being discussed, and that now is an opportunity for those, if you're interested in either for or against a smoke-free ordinance, that being election season, it's the opportunity for you to potentially, the viewers, to use that as a
we
form
have
for him to vote.
the candidate forums are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to see if the question about smoke-free comes before the magistrates and the county judge candidates as part of that forum.
Right.
So if anyone's interested in this subject, attend the forums, and I'm confident that whatever comes out in the forums will be put in the paper as well. But we'll take the results of the May elections and then move forward with that.
And your hope is that once the primary elections over, potentially this summer, to have the opportunities for some kind of forums to inform people about
some form of education for the people, so that they can understand what the issues are,
right,
and make an informed decision.
And so the reason for the smoke-free ordinance, a lot of the rationale for why the PATH Coalition and your wife and now you were in favor of that is for health reasons for both the people who smoke, but also for the people around them who don't, correct?
It's health-based, and I'm an environmental engineer. I went to work for the state of Kentucky in 1972, at the time when the EPA came about. And part of the reason that EPA came about is because industry in the country was basically doing what they wanted to, just like people who smoke do what they want to. And the results of that got out of the environment, and the signature event that caused the Clean Water Act to be passed was the Cuyahoga River. Well, that river was laden with oil from refineries, and it caught on fire as a result of sparks from a foundry that was carried across the river. Another example is asbestos. And for years and years, nobody really understood or cared about asbestos until the mesothelioma started raising its ugly head. And yes, we had to do something about that. Well, who's we? Government, EPA, and the like. You have black lung in the mining environment. And does government have a role in terms of dealing with the public health in these arenas? The answer is yes. So when it comes to smoking, it's a very similar concept, where people who smoke, they have a right to do that. The problem is they do it in public spaces, then the public comes in, they have to take that smoke in, they're at risk. People who smoke are a burden on the public because their health is diminished, and the health care cost goes up. We get into Medicaid, Medicare, who's going to pay for that? We all do. So there's a good sound reason for having smoke-free spaces to reduce the number of people who are exposed to smoke that wind up with health problems.
And again, there is not an ordinance currently in front of anyone, so this is just an opportunity to make the public aware that there are people who are working towards that goal and utilizing election time to get either some...
Observe how the candidates respond to the questions that are put before them, smoke-free just being one. I'm sure there'll be many more.
Mm-hmm. And again, I've been talking with Shelby Jett, who is working with the Nelson County PATH Coalition on the smoke-free ordinance being proposed here in Nelson County. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, this has been Gary White for Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television.